Okay, so my name is Patrick Shipman, and I'll be interviewing you today. I'm from Joliet Junior College, and I'm an intern here at the Joliet Public Library, where we are shooting it today. And today's August 3rd, 2017. And go ahead and state your name.
Lawrence Piskur.
And where and when were you born?
I was born in Joliet, Illinois in May of 1945.
And who were your parents and what were their occupations?
Okay, my dad's name was Joseph Piskur, and he was a steel worker at Joliet Steelworks. And my mom was a housewife. Her name is Ann Piskur. Her maiden name was Ann Fabian.
And what were their occupations? Oh, sorry. The occupations, you said he was a steel worker?
My dad.
Okay.
He was a steel worker, right.
And did you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have, well, my brother Joe, he passed, and there's still my brother Tom, and my sisters Judy and Mary Ellen.
And did any other family members serve in the military?
Yes, my brother Joe did, and so did my brother Tom.
And what were you doing before you entered the service?
I was actually working at Trenton Bittner as a furniture refinisher and a upholstery apprentice.
Okay. All right, so in the early days of service, in which branch of the military did you serve?
I was in the U.S. Army.
And did you serve in any wars?
No, I didn't, but I was in during the Vietnam era.
Okay. And why did you choose that specific branch of the military?
I don't know what it was. I always thought highly of the U.S. Army. It might have been the uniform or what they stood for. So.
Okay. What was the highest rank you achieved?
E4, Specialist 4.
And were you a guard member or active military?
Oh, I was active military.
Okay. And do you recall your first days of service at all?
Do I recall them?
Yes.
Yep, getting a haircut. Getting in line and really getting a treatment like you deserve to make you better.
Anything else come to mind regarding that?
I mean, the first days?
Yes.
Scared. We didn't know what was happening. No, there was no preparation. You were just going in and you met these guys that were just yelling constantly at you. Oh.
And so that goes into the next question, really. So how did you feel during
How
this?
did I feel? It was scary. It was scary at first, but you knew that you better put up with this because you're going to come out military, a serviceman. It's what you signed up for, what you believed in.
And where did you go for basic training?
I went to Fort Knox in Kentucky.
And did what you learned in basic training make you question everything that you knew before you joined?
Kind of, sort of, but I knew that this was part of the training, and they were trying to make something out of us. As we were told by my sergeant in basic training, you're going to Vietnam, and I want you to survive.
So then, do you recall your instructors well or fondly?
Oh yeah, I appreciated it, very much so. Yep.
And so what were they like then?
Mean. They acted mean. They acted mean, but they were very nice people. So, but that was their training.
And what did you do after basic training?
Okay, when I got out of basic training, I went to truck mechanic school in Fort Polk, Louisiana.
And did you receive any specialized training at all?
Special training, not really, except for how to fix vehicles. But then I went back to Fort Knox for track vehicle mechanics, and that includes tanks and APCs and anything that was a track vehicle.
And how did you adapt to military life, including the physical regimen, barracks food, and social life?
I think most adaptation was, I would say I think it was smooth. Uh, I enjoyed what I was doing, but I wanted to be back in civilian life.
How was the food there?
The food was, well, basic training. It was good, but you didn't have time to enjoy it. Okay, and food in the regular military, like after you got out, and when I finally got to in tank school, it was good food. When I was in Germany, we ate a lot of sea rations from years back, but we also ate real good food too.
So that goes into the next question. Where did you serve?
I served in Ansbach, Germany.
Okay, and what did you mentally prepare yourself to go overseas? Or how did you?
How did I? Well, okay. I think you're going somewheres, and you get in a troop ship, and you're going over and you're talking to the guys and all of that, and it's kind of like you're in a cattle wagon. So when I got off of the ship in Germany, they put me on a deuce-and-a-half truck. I was all alone. It took me all the way to Ansbach, Germany. Didn't know where I was going. Dropped me off at this barracks, and I think all they said was, "Have fun."
So do you remember arriving and what were your thoughts about it?
Well, when I arrived, I got sent up to the 4th floor in the old German barracks when the Nazis had them. And I was up in the attic, and there was a bunch of us up there, and this one guy shows up, and he found a shirt in the laundry, and he was acting like an officer, and he was yelling and screaming at us. So it was passed down to everybody, his shirt, after he got yelled at.
So do you have any other fond memories of serving abroad?
Oh yeah, I had there was a lot of good times. There was a lot of training, field maneuvers and all of that because of Vietnam, and the Cold War was still on, kind of, sort of, so.
And so what was the landscape like surrounding where you were stationed?
What was it like?
Yeah, was it city, open country?
Well, our barracks were right in the town of Ansbach, but we had a mobile missile outfit. We actually had a site which was out in the country, and it was very flat. And but then we were mobile too. When we went on maneuvers, we loaded everything up, the missiles and everything else, and headed out and played war games.
So then, what was the weather like when you were there?
Well, you had winter times, but I don't think they're as severe as here, but more damp too. But they were cold. There was times when it was good and cold. And then in the summer, it was, you had your hot days and all of that too. Rain, whatever, so.
Mm-hmm. So, did you eat any local food, drink, or soda that they had there?
Soda? I think it was more like beer. It's because you're in Germany. And people don't drink too much water in Germany. If you see a painter on a scaffold, he's got a couple bottles of beer with him. Back then, anyways. And the food was excellent. Schnitzel and different things like that. Schwarzwick was one what I was very fond of. A couple sausages, some kind of sauce, so.
So when you were there, did you eat any MREs? MREs?
I don't know what you mean. MREs.
Go on to the next one.
Okay. So then, where did you sleep? You said at the barracks, correct?
Yeah, we slept in the barracks. We had a barracks and we all had our separate rooms. Well, we had 4 guys to a room. And if we were on maneuvers, we were in a tent with a sleeping bag.
So,
Or in the back of a truck with a sleeping bag.
so was your armor and equipment up to date, or were they from like a previous era?
Well, the only thing we had we had M14s because the M16s went to Nam. All the M16s went to Nam, so we weren't really up to date, but everything else was up to date that we had. So.
Okay. So, what is the difference between a Kevlar helmet and a steel pot?
Well, a Kevlar helmet is more like you have a Kevlar vest, which will stop a bullet, which a Kevlar will too. But if it's a direct hit, I don't think it's gonna. But the steel pot was the old helmet, and that's just what it was a steel pot with a liner inside. So the Kevlar would probably be a lot lighter.
And so, which one did you have?
The steel. That era, the Kevlar wasn't even invented yet, that I know of.
And how many units were you attached to?
In Germany, I was attached to 1 unit. In the United States, I probably went through 3 different units. So I was actually in the 7th Army, 32nd Air Defense Command at the end in Germany. So 1 unit, 2 different names.
And so, how did active duty personnel treat National Guard units?
How did,
Active duty personnel treat National Guard units?
oh wow, when I got out, they sent me by mistake to the unit on Jefferson Street here in Joliet. And it was like, you sat there and you just said, man, if these guys ever see active duty, what are they gonna do? But we treated them just as good as we did, you know. We asked them, what do you want us to do? And they would say, you know more about this than we do. So you do what you want.
And was your tour or mission ever extended?
No.
And what were the requirements for promotions that you received?
I think the requirements for promotion are, they have so many available promotions, and they issue them to the people that have it coming to them by amount of years or months or whatever, and their experience.
Did this come easy for you?
Yes.
Do you recall any ways or anything that specifically stood out to you as why you got promoted?
Probably because I was a hard worker.
Okay.
Very concerned about my job.
And so, what did you do for entertainment?
We would go to local nightclubs or out in the movies. We go to movies, read books, or go to the library or stuff like that. Or we had a local PX, not the PX, but even on base, we had a place, a nightclub where we could go and, you know, have a few beers or whatever. So.
And was downtime limited because there was more work than soldiers?
No, we had plenty of personnel.
Okay. And what types of additional duties were you assigned to?
Oh, well, KP, but I enjoyed it because I'd always volunteer for officers' mess. And that's where you got fed the best. You eat before the officers too. So.
And what kinds of friendships or camaraderie did you form while serving and with
I
whom?
probably had about 2 or 3 best friends, and we were all close. We were all pretty well closely knit because we're all in the same thing. So, but my best friend was Dean Perkins, and after the service, it took me 48 years to find him again through Facebook.
So what sort of things did you do with your friends while you were on site?
Well, we'd go to nightclubs or whatever. Whatever, play cards, whatever, joke around, give each other a hard time. But we enjoyed our time together. Or complain about the Army and the food.
And did you do something special for good luck at all while you were out there?
Do anything special for good luck? No, not really, not myself. Maybe I wasn't in any battle or anything. The most I ever seen was a Russian MiG come and buzz the missile site. So that's all I ever saw. So we had good duty. We were in a safety zone, very safe zone. So.
And what was your main form of contact with family and friends?
I could call home every once in a while, but it wasn't cheap. But I think I came home twice from Germany on an airplane, got a ticket. It was pretty reasonable. A couple $100, I think it was, in fact, So, anyway.
Did you exchange letters with anyone?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of mail. From friends and all of that. But some people you wouldn't hear from for 2 or 3 months at a time, So.
So the phone calls and trips were very seldom and far between?
Yeah, I would say it's not an everyday thing, I think today now they got computers and everything. They can call anytime or, No.
Was having the ability to contact home helpful?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you miss home. You always miss home. If you got a heart, you miss home.
So how are today's wars different?
Today's wars, to me, would be different because of the equipment. They have so much more equipment and sophisticated gear. Like today, a tunnel rat is probably a robot. The tanks today, they can zero in it's not manual, it's all electronically controlled. They can zero in and, a sniper has everything for them. Even today it can be done with video.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. So the equipment, you're dealing in, even the Hawk missiles that we dealt with are more sophisticated today. I heard they're still using them, but the electronics have been changed.
So do you recall the day your service ended?
Oh, sure. Fort Sheridan, up in northern Illinois. Simple. We were there, I think we were there 2 or 3 days. We enjoyed it, but we were just strictly on the base.
And so had you fulfilled your military service then?
Yes.
And were others...
But they sent me to a reserve outfit I shouldn't have had to be in. They came in one day and said, "You guys aren't even supposed to be here. Go home," because we were active. So.
And were others discharged with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was probably 4 or 5 guys. We're all discharged together from different places.
And so how did you return home?
You mean from
when you were across seas?
From Germany? Oh, by airplane,
Okay.
right.
And how did you handle switching your mindset when it was time to come home? Was it like difficult at all?
It was exciting. It was exciting to get back to a civilian life. But till this day, I regret that I didn't stay in.
Why do you regret that?
Because I don't know, I think my brothers talked me out of it more than what I wanted to, you know. So, there's so much to offer. I mean, so much to see and so much to do in the military that, I don't know. I regret it because I'm proud of being a veteran.
And how were you received by your family and community when you were coming back?
When you come back during the Vietnam era, the first idea was not very nice. I don't want to mention what we were called or anything like that. So it wasn't.
What year was it?
1967, January.
And so what did you do since separating from the military? Did you resume a job or start a new career?
Okay, I started looking for a job, and my old woodshop teacher got me a job at Bill Jacobs Chevrolet at the new building up on Jefferson Street. So I was there, and then, but I really wanted to be a carpenter, and in the end I wanted to be a commercial diver. But I wound up being a carpenter and a millwright the rest of my life.
Did you go back to school at all when you came back?
I went to truck driving school, took some photography courses, heating and air conditioning. Mm-hmm.
Did you use any military benefits?
Not, well, some of the benefits were from, like Romeo, I think I got one benefit from Romeoville for truck driving school. They paid for the course. One of the courses was paid for, so, but otherwise I didn't use my benefits for school.
And have you remained in contact with or reunited with fellow veterans?
Well, I got to see my buddy, my best friend, last spring, Richmond, Kentucky. We had a good time for a few days, so we still stay in contact. But the rest of them, I really haven't run into them or anything like that.
And what was his name?
Dean Perkins.
And so, how did your military experiences affect your life as a whole?
Probably made me more team-worthy. Working as a team, it probably made me, work harder. You know, want something out of life. Besides, you know, this country was worth being there for.
And what are some life lessons that you learned from the military service?
Survival. How to, you know, being a mechanic, you know, it helped with millwright work because that's all with metal, so, you know, and people, how to deal with people.
What kind of armored vehicle did you work on?
Well, in school, I worked on M60 tanks, APCs. We did a lot of recovery, you know, truck mechanics, we were, you know, trucks and missile loaders. There was a little track vehicle. Jeeps, 3/4 tons. That was about it, though. You know.
When you say recovery, what do you mean by that on tanks?
Stick a tank in the mud and get it out of there, get it out of the mud. So we had a recovery vehicle, an M88 recovery vehicle, and they're pulling it out of the mud, right? So there's a lot of rigging involved.
And has anyone ever thanked you for your service?
Lots of times. A lot of young kids, you see them, and we thank each other too when we see a guy in a store wearing a cap or whatever, or a uniform. So we thank each other.
And what is the most positive thing that you take away from your experience in the service?
That you can do it. No matter what, you can do it.
So we're getting down to some of the final questions. Is there anything that I haven't really asked that you'd just like to share?
No, not really. I mean, military service is worth it. It's really worth it. And I think with what's going on in this country right now, that there's a lot of people that should experience it. Make them a better person and help them dealing with working as a team instead of destroying each other. Oh.
And so then, what message would you like to leave future generations who will view or see this interview?
I would say you need to go to different countries and see how the people live, how the children live, how the children are treated, what it takes to live in another country. And it's just an experience you see in life, these things, how people live and everything, and it's, when you get back to this country, you want to kiss the ground.
So you're saying that it's very different when you go over to other places overseas?
A lot of places are a lot different.
Can you explain like a certain thing that you saw when you were overseas?
This is not during military though. This is afterwards. Like in South America, you see street kids taking a bath in a sewer, in an open sewer, stuff like that.
So appreciate what we have here.
You should really appreciate what you have here. Yep. This is God's country.
And so the last question is there anything you feel like we haven't discussed or should be added onto this interview?
I don't know. Let's protect this country and cherish it and the people in it. Let's be, instead of being so against each other, let's just join together.
Okay. So I want to thank you for your time today and for your service to our country. That was all the questions that we have for you today. And if you have anything else, just let us know.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.